The FBI just got caught spying on Americans yet again, and this time it's on conservative Catholics. We're going to see the bombshell hearings where the Attorney General is doing everything he can to run away from all of this, and we're going to see precisely how conservative Catholics are rising up and ending this lawless regime once and for all. You are not going to want to miss this. A few weeks back, a bombshell whistleblower report came out revealing that the FBI's Richmond field office recently released an internal memo warning against what they called radical traditionalist Catholic ideology. The document was exposed by a special agent at the Bureau for 6 years before he was indefinitely suspended. That appears to be the pattern that the FBI engages in with whistleblowers, and it claims that traditionalist Catholic parishes and groups are breeding grounds for white supremacists. Attorney General Merrick Garland was brought to Capitol Hill today to testify regarding these explosive accusations.
I notice a pattern, though. The FBI field office in Richmond, on the 23rd of January of this year, issued a memorandum in which they advocated for, and I quote, the exploration of new avenues for tripwire and source development against traditionalist Catholics, it's their language, including those who favor the Latin Mass. Attorney General, are you cultivating sources and spies in Latin Mass parishes and other Catholic parishes around the country?
No, the Justice Department does not do that. It does not do investigations based on religion. I saw the document you have.
What did you do about it?
It's appalling. It's appalling. I'm in complete agreement with you. I understand that the FBI has withdrawn it, and it's now looking into how this could ever have happened.
How did it happen?
That's what they're looking into. But I'm totally in agreement with you. That document is appalling.
I'll tell you how it happened. This memorandum, which is supposed to be intelligent, cites extensively the Southern Poverty Law Center, which goes on to identify all of these different Catholics as being part of hate groups. Is this how the FBI, under your direction and leadership, is this how they do their intelligence work? They look at left-wing advocacy groups to target Catholics? Is this what's going on? I mean, clearly it is. How is this happening?
The FBI is not targeting Catholics, and as I've said, this is an inappropriate memorandum, and it doesn't reflect the methods that the FBI is supposed to be using. It should not be relying on any single organization without doing its own work.
Let me just ask you, as my time expires here, a very direct question. How many informants do you have in Catholic churches across America?
I don't know, and I don't believe we have any informants aimed at Catholic churches. We have a rule against investigations based on First Amendment activity, and Catholic churches are obviously First Amendment activity. Well, but I don't know the specific answer to your question.
You don't know the specifics of anything, it seems, but apparently on your watch, this Justice Department is targeting Catholics, targeting people of faith, specifically for their faith views.
Wow. I don't know the answer. I don't know. How many FBI spies are in Catholic parishes right now across the country, Attorney General? I don't know. The default answer of the permanent political class, where the number one rule is always avoid accountability. Now, Senator Josh Hawley brought up the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, as the source for targeting traditionalist Catholics as a hate group. Unfortunately for the FBI, as Senator Hawley noted, the SPLC has been thoroughly discredited. Even USA Today has referred to the SPLC as, in their words, a scam. The SPLC has perhaps more than any other organization turned grievance politics into an industry, and a very lucrative one at that. The SPLC rakes in tens of millions of dollars a year smearing conservative organizations and causes, and unfortunately now conservative Catholics. It's proof that the left's grievance groups know no bounds in terms of their politics of destruction, and they'll go after even members of the Catholic Church. But besides that, we all know what's really going on here. It's the exact same thing we saw happening with parents protesting their woke school boards. As many of you all too well remember, several months back, it was revealed that the Department of Justice launched an all-out effort to combat what they claimed was an increase in threats of violence against school officials and teachers all across the country. It was in response to a request by the National School Boards Association. This National School Boards Association requested that the Patriot Act, which is an act that involves dealing with domestic terrorists. They actually requested the Patriot Act be enforced against threatening parents, supposedly threatening. And the Justice Department basically said, okay, all right, we'll do that. Matt Walsh at the time tweeted out, leftist activists can come to your house with bullhorns, film you in the bathroom, loot your business, burn police stations. The FBI does nothing. But if conservative parents raise their voices at a school board meeting, as by the way Matt Walsh has done relatively recently, they're hunted down as terrorists. The law is dead. And he's absolutely right. We're going to find out exactly what Biden and the Democrats are doing here, and it's going to make your blood boil. But first, make sure to click on that link below and check out my special website for the Ready Project food supply. No one makes preparing for an emergency more ridiculously easy and affordable than our good friends over at the Ready Project food supply. Their food kits last up to 25 years in storage. They include breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Every meal is 2,000 calories. And if you act right now, you're going to save 25% off a full 4-week emergency food supply when you click on that link below to my special website. So whatever you do, do not wait. Click on that link. Start building your emergency food supply today. What Biden Democrats are doing here, either with traditional Catholic parishes or parents pushing back against woke school boards, is something scholars refer to as weaponized legalism. That's the technical term for the politicalization of the law. Weaponized legalism, a weaponized legal regime, which you and I now live under, right, thanks to bumbling Biden, uses the law to deliberately undermine their political opponents, strengthen themselves and their allies, and they use the law to show off their power to threaten and intimidate. And that's precisely what the Justice Department has become. They've become weaponized legal regime that uses the law as a political weapon. So, for example, Democrats care nothing about enforcing immigration law at the southern border, but they care everything about busing immigrants from Florida to New York. They don't give a rip about their law enforcement responsibilities during the George Floyd riots, but are now suddenly the great defenders of the nation against these January 6 insurrectionists. This is weaponized legalism. It's the intentional use of the law to persecute your political opponents and intimidate everyone else, all the while securing your own position of power. But the joke's on them. The amazing news in all of this is that traditionalist Catholics are rising up against this nonsense like never before. As it turns out, traditionalist Catholic parishes, particularly the ones celebrating the Latin Mass, are growing by leaps and bounds, even as contemporary Catholic parishes are generally shrinking. One Los Angeles parish that introduced the Latin Mass saw their parish double in attendance in a single year. And I would argue it's all part of this wider phenomenon known as retraditionalization, where more and more populations are returning to nation, culture, custom, and tradition, most particularly our religious traditions, as mechanisms of resistance against liberal globalism and its anti-cultural secular aristocracy. Catholicism is no exception to this wider trend. And so as the Biden Justice Department tries to clamp down on traditional Catholics, they're quickly finding themselves tangling with a very formidable and indeed growing foe. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on Lori Lightfoot, the disastrous mayor of Chicago, losing re-election in a humiliating defeat. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.